Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. Before I get into today's episode, just want to thank everybody for supporting the channel, pushing to 2,000 subscribers, trying to get there before the season starts. So if you guys do enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So for today's episode, I want to do a quick recap on the Miami Heat's first preseason game against the Charlotte Hornets. They lost 111 to 108. So doing a quick recap and have some key takeaways and some observations from this first game. So not a big deal that the Miami Heat lost, just the preseason. Starters played 15 or 16 minutes, I believe, and a lot of other guys got opportunities in the second half, which we'll talk about. And so the Heat were missing a few players. So that was one thing. So Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez both have groin strains or groins, and they are day to day. So I think Spo is just being extra cautious right now, wants them to be healthy for the regular season. I'm sure they'll get some run in one of the preseason games. One of the games on Thursday, I believe, was going to be in Miami, has been rescheduled due to the hurricanes going on there. So I think they'll give Tyler and Jaime more time to rest and hoping to see them in the next game. Josh Richardson was also out with his shoulder injury. He's been out. He has not been back. He has not been playing during training camp as well. So not sure when his timeline is for him to get back on the court, but we'll see. So either way, the Miami Heat, good game today overall. It was fun to see the Miami Heat play some basketball finally after a long and boring summer. And we got to see one of Miami's acquisitions, the only person they basically signed during free agency, start today in place of Tyler Hero. So Miami went with a starting backcourt of Terry Rozier, Alec Burks. Then they had Jimmy at the 3, and then they had Jovic at the 4 and Bam at the 5. It was nice to see Burks play really well. Having that veteran in the lineup due to the injuries was great. He's a good three-point shooter, so we'll get into that. Terry Rozier finally playing basketball again, which is good to see. He had that neck injury that held him out for the final, was it 10 to 14 games of the regular season last year. And then, of course, he missed the playoff series against the Celtics. And he was hurt for a lot of this offseason. And, a few weeks ago, right before training camp, he was still not cleared for 5-on-5 activity. He was doing 3-on-3. And then I think right before training camp 2 weeks ago, he was finally cleared for 5-on-5. He's been back with his team, and we saw him play today. He looked a little rusty, but he hasn't really been playing much basketball and, was coming off an injury. So we'll get into that as well. But happy to see Terry out there on the floor. Got to see Jimmy Butler play a preseason game. He hasn't played a preseason game apparently in 2 seasons. Last season, he had some what was it, dental work, I guess, that kept him out of the entire preseason. So got to see Jimmy Butler out there, which was nice. Got to see Bam Adebayo, who I'm excited about this season. I think he's going to have a really good year. I think Jimmy Butler is going to have a really good year too. So the first takeaway, though, that I do want to talk about is Burks. So Alec Burks, I think he signed for the veteran minimum, which is like $3 million or so. It looks like when Tyler Hero is healthy, he is going to be essentially our backup combo guard or shooting guard. So I can see him coming off the bench for Tyler Hero or for Terry Rozier. I think he is going to be a key component, and I've said this before, in our rotation. He is someone who could handle the ball a little bit. He's more of a two guard, in my opinion, but he is someone who could, play make a little bit, obviously hit that 3, and someone that we're going to rely on. Like Spo mentioned, he was a heat killer, random scrub heat killer. And, he's finally on the Miami Heat roster, and now it'll be good to see him hitting those threes against other teams versus hitting those against the Miami Heat. So I think Burks is going to be in the rotation, and he looked good. I was happy. I think he was 2 for 2 from 3 today. I'll pull up the box score right now so I can reference it while going through the video. But yeah, I think Burks, is going to be playing a key role. And I mean, he started for Tyler Hero. So he played 16 minutes, 3 for 3 from the field, 2 for 2 from 3, which was great. So he finished with 8 points, 3 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 0 turnovers, plus 12. Huge. So he was not only scoring for the Miami and was perfect from the field in low volume, but was playing defense as well. So can't complain there. The other thing I noticed too is Nikola Jovic obviously starting. So we didn't see Haywood Highsmith or Kevin Love coming off the bench or starting from the bench. So it does look like Spo is going to go with the same ideal starting lineup from last year. His ideal starting lineup, I think, was going to be Terry, Tyler in the backcourt. You got Jimmy at the 3, Jovic at the 4, Bam at the 5. So Jovic played really well. He also played 16 minutes, 3 for 5 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, 2 for 2 from the line, 9 points, 3 assists, 2 boards, 1 steal, 0 turnovers is key. He was a plus 12. So it's good to see Nico with a good game. He's coming off that ankle fracture he had during the summer before he went to the Olympics, and he was limited during the summertime, didn't get to play a lot, but he looks healthy. He looks good. So excited to see Jovic play well. Bam Adebayo, again, I think he's poised to have a great year. He played 17 minutes, 5 for 9 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3. He shot, I believe, all 5 of those threes in the first quarter, at least 4 of them. I know he was 2 for 4 at one point in the first quarter. Could have shot that other one in the second quarter, but he was 2 for 5. If you look here, compared to all the starters, he took the most threes. I think he probably took the most threes compared to everybody. Yeah, no one else took more than 4 threes. So Bam Adebayo, your center, shot the most. And it's a preseason game. So um, only time will tell if he's actually going to do that in the regular season, but it looks like he has the confidence. He has the green light from Spo. He's been working on it. So Bam going 2 for 5, I'll take it. 1 for 3 from the line. Yeah, not great, but that's fine. 13 points, 6 rebounds, no assists. That's fine because Terry and Jovic kind of had the ball in their hands more so as playmakers. But he did have 1 steal, 3 turnovers. Totally fine. It's a preseason game. He was a +9. So Bam, I think this is going to be a huge element to his game. This new wrinkle is going to be huge for him. You saw, I think it was Richards guarding him at the beginning, was like 3 or 4 feet away from him when he was at the top of the 3 above the break, and took that 3 that he made. Like, a lot of guys are going to give him that shot. They're going to have to defend him, obviously, as he starts making more and more and shooting more and more throughout the season. But they're going to have to respect it. And if they don't respect it, he's going to have a high percentage 3-point shot. If they do respect it, then he's going to be able to use his speed, his athleticism to take these guys off the dribble and attack the paint and force double teams. Then he can kick it out to wide open teammates for 3 in the corner. So if he's playing with like a Haywood Highsmith or a Terry or a Tyler, whoever it may be, even Jimmy Butler, who likes to shoot from the corner, he's going to be able to create for his teammates. So it's going to be huge for the Miami Heat's offense next season. Speaking of Jimmy Butler, so Jimmy Butler, again, like I mentioned, played his first preseason game in 2 years, which is kind of crazy to think. He looked good out there. Like he was not super aggressive at the beginning. He was letting Terry Rozier get reacclimated with the team. I think he was taking the most shots in that first quarter, along with Bam Adebayo. But Jimmy was 3 for 6, 1 for 2 from 3, 4 for 4 from the line. Good to see him getting to the line, even though it's a preseason game. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, no turnovers. Jimmy was a +12, 11 points. He looked really good, and I think he's poised to have a improved season compared to last year, especially in a contract year. I think if Jimmy could stay healthy, which is a big if, then this Miami Heat team can do damage with Bam Adebayo, obviously elevating his game and hopefully having the rest of this Miami Heat's roster healthy so we can use our depth for once. So Terry Rozier, like I mentioned, first game back in a while. 3 for 10 from the field, so not really efficient. Looked rusty. 0 for 3 from 3. Took some hard shots, missed some easy shots. Only had 7 points, 4 rebounds. Obviously, one of our best rebounding guards on the team. Tyler Hero's a good rebounding guard as well. So 4 rebounds, good for that. Good for him. 2 assists, 1 block, and did he have any turnover? No turnovers either. So that's good. Terry, I guess, will get better as he gets his legs underneath him, I think, and gets some more reps with this team. So in terms of the bench, it was really interesting to see the second unit come in. So like the 10-man rotation and second unit included Kevin Love, Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith, and Drew Smith as the backup point guard. And again, I don't think all these people are going to play. Obviously, Spo's going to go with like a 9-man, maybe 10-man at most rotation during the regular season. And I could see a lot of players not playing unless there's injuries. And so I don't even know if Drew Smith is actually going to play. I feel like Alec Burks is going to be the backup guard coming off the bench, and Pele Larson as well. So Pele played amazing off the bench. He's going to have a really good year. He looks like he could be the steal of the second round. The Miami Heat seem like they've done it again. They found their guy that they liked, drafted him, and it looks like he is a Miami Heat guy. He's not going to be this efficient always on offense, but 16 minutes, 4 for 5 from the field, 2 for 2 from three, which was huge. He had 10 points. He had 2 rebounds and a steal. Did he have any turnovers? He had no turnovers. That's huge again for a young guy. So he looked really good offensively. Like he plays really well off ball, which is going to be a huge advantage of playing him off the bench with Jaime Jaquez because they both move off ball really well. So he had a really good cut where Duncan Robinson found him for a layup. And so he's just energetic. He's a two-way player. He tries really hard on defense. So I'm excited to see what he can bring to the table. So he played with a weird lineup that wasn't that great, which included Haywood and Duncan and Kevin Love. Kevin Love played 7 minutes only, 1 for 3 from the field, 2 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. He looked okay out there, but he's not going to have a huge role. I think he's only going to play like 7 to 12 minutes per game, and he's going to be in there for rebounding and for hitting open 3-pointers. Duncan Robinson didn't make a 3-pointer. He had really good looks on a couple of them. A couple of them are tough contested threes, but he went 2 for 6 from the field, 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, no turnovers, which is good. He looked good. He got a couple buckets at the rim, which was good to see. So Duncan looking versatile, looking like he wants to continue to put the ball on the floor, play make, and try to find his teammates. Excited to see him back on the floor, of course, because Duncan Robinson was dealing with a back injury at the end of the year, missed like 8 games, and played in the playoffs, but he played sparingly. You could tell he was still compromised, that his back was hurting. So no long-term issues apparently with this. So just an off night for Duncan, but looking forward to see him play and happy that he's healthy. Haywood Highsmith 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. Didn't really have a good game, minus 14. Keyshawn Johnson also, was up and down. You could see his offensive skill set is not there. He's still raw. He needs to work on that end, but he did hit a 3. He was 1 for 2, 2 for 6 overall, 6 points, but he obviously did a lot of things on the defensive end, as you would expect, because he's a defensive minded player. He had 1 block, 1 steal, 2 assists, 1 rebound. I think he had maybe a dunk. I know he missed a dunk. And I think Isaiah Stevens missed him on a wide open alley-oop opportunity, which he overthrew, which is unfortunate. But Keyshawn looks raw still. I don't know how much time he's honestly going to play in the regular season, just because this Miami Heat's so deep. Again, it's going to be contingent on injuries, because I could see, even though he is a forward, I see Jay Rich possibly even playing ahead of him with Alec Burks coming off the bench with Jaime Jaquez. That's 8 players right there. Kevin Love, 9. And then someone's going to back up Bam. That's either Thomas Bryant or Kel'el Ware, which we can talk about in a second. But yeah, we have a really deep team. Josh Christopher, not a bad game. 5 points, 2 for 6 from the field. He had 5 assists, which was really good to see. He was really trying to play make. Played really well in the pick and roll with Kel'el Ware, who's the man of the hour off the bench specifically. So Drew Smith, not that great of a game, minus 14. 1 for 3 from 3, 1 for 4 from the field, 5 points. Caleb Daniels, who we had on the podcast, and Drew Smith. So shout out to Drew Smith and Caleb Daniels. Caleb played 17 minutes, 3 for 6 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, which is great. He had 8 points. He also had 9 rebounds. So he is a beast and a really good rebounding guard. Isaiah Stevens didn't have the best game. You could see here 0 for 4, 0 for 2 from the field, 2 points, 3 assists. But the man of the hour was Kel'el Ware coming off the bench. So I was surprised that Spo didn't put in Kel'el earlier, or even give Keyshawn or even Christopher minutes early on. He waited until the last few minutes of the third quarter before he put in basically the Las Vegas Summer League championship team. So he put in Keyshawn, he put in Kel'el, he put in Josh, he put in Caleb, and he put in Isaiah Stevens. And they played basically the rest of the game. And Kel'el Ware was awesome. He was 5 for 9 from the field, 1 for 3 from three, 2 for 4 from the line. That's an area he needs to improve on. But in general, 13 points, 4 blocks, 2 steals, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Can't complain much. Kel'el looked amazing out there. It was interesting to see, though, that Kevin Love and Thomas Bryant were ahead of him. So that could be a takeaway there, is that he's going to be the third center, perhaps. I think it's going to be K Love, if we want to call Kevin Love a center. And we're going to have Kel'el Ware as a third option, which I don't like. I want him to back up Bam Adebayo for sure. I want him to get minutes early on because he is just super skillful, especially on the defensive end. He is the rim protector that we have not had in a long time, and I want to see him play with Bam Adebayo, even if it's sparingly. He had 4 blocks. He had 3 on one single possession alone. He was a beast, and he was all over the floor. His length, his wingspan, you could see all that with his ability to obviously dunk the basket when it comes to the pick and roll, but just hands everywhere in passing lanes with those steals. He was incredible. He hit that 1 3. He missed the 3 to tie the game at the buzzer, which is unfortunate. So he had to take a contested tough 3 that he probably normally wouldn't take. But Kel'el was good. The only thing I would say with Kel'el is I think he needs to be a little more aggressive on boxing out. He could have got a few more rebounds, but overall, still a good rebounder. Obviously, 7-footer. So that's got to be one of his fortes, along with the defense. And his first 2 possessions, I think he had a turnover and then he got stripped. So I think he needs to work on his strength. My boy Martell talks about that all the time, like just putting 2 hands on the ball and going up strong, which he usually does off the pick and roll. Um, but I think, yeah, just he needs to add strength, and he will over time. We saw Jovic come into the league at like 215 pounds or so, and he's like 240 now, apparently, over 3 years in this Miami Heat system. So I think he'll gain some weight, he'll gain some strength over the years. But Kel'el, man, he looks really good, honestly. I know it's the preseason, but still, this was against NBA talent, and it's not like the summer league where you're playing with a bunch of guys who are not even going to be in the league. So Kel'el Ware stood out big time. Pele Larson stood out big time. He's going to be someone that's going to be in our rotation. The other person that stood out again was Burks, bringing in that veteran presence, playing two-way, which I was surprised to see. But he is someone that Spo's probably going to trust. Of course, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, our team runs through them. And then Jovic looking confident going into year 3, hoping he can have a leap, as well as the guys that we didn't get to see today, hoping that Tyler can have some sort of leap, and assuming Jaime Jaquez Jr. is going to have a leap himself. So overall, I think it was a good game for this Miami Heat team. Preseason game 1 in the books, and yeah, we're on to the next against, I think, the Hawks next week. So interesting to see what kind of lineups and rotations Spo uses for that game. But anyway, that's all I have for today's episode. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.